All right, welcome back to episode 6. I think we're at number 6 of our WWE in 2013 save using the Yes mod. We are currently on the build to Payback 2013. Yeah, that's really all general stuff. No news really happened over the in-game weekend. For this show, we do have 3 matches pre-booked. We have Alicia Fox and Summer Rae versus the Funkadactyls, Cody Rhodes versus Kofi Kingston for the United States Championship match, and then Shelton Benjamin and Antonio Cesaro, two men who have gotten on each other's nerves recently, are kind of fighting to really rise up in the U.S. title rankings as both of them want the belt. Yeah, that's really all that's pre-booked for this show, at least this episode of Raw. I did cancel main event, thank God. Main event was just no fun to book. It did cost us a good amount of money. Our profits were only like $500,000 this month because of it. So, yeah, that's That's it. That's because I really wanted to cancel main event. I didn't even wait to see what our profits would be. So, yeah, let's just get into the show. So we open up the show. If you remember on the last episode of the Yes Mod, John Cena came out to celebrate his championship victory, and then Mark Henry just kind of came out and just beat the shit out of him. And then to close the show, we saw right before our main event, we just kind of saw Mark Henry go into Triple H's office, and then after the main event, all of a sudden, Mark Henry's going to be the number 1 contender. And that's what this promo's about. John Cena calls Mark Henry out, and Mark Henry doesn't jump him because now he knows that he can't blindside Cena, and Cena makes a mention of that, like, try and jump me if you want, but I'm not going to be blindsided this time. I'll beat you up, or I'll fight, I'll fend you off if you try anything. So he's just like, yeah, crazy how that works, Mark, that you just kind of go into Triple H's office. You really had to threaten our general manager for a title match because you know you don't deserve one. That's the line that sets it over. That's when Mark Henry eventually does say fuck it and just start throwing hands. The two brawl back and forth, and I fucked up here. I meant to get a bunch of NXT guys in, call them security guys, and get a little TEW cheese pop from that, but that did not happen. I forgot before I ran the show. So our opening match is a 5-minute bout between The Shield and the Rascals. I did not sign them. Just happens that Trey Miguel and Desmond Xavier are in the local area in the Great Lakes. So yeah, we have the Rascals for one night. I don't know why I look at them for the jobbers. It does not matter. It only got 34 though. That's kind of that's a bit surprising. Normally squash matches, when you have a big stars or like at least well knowns, they get around the high 40 to low 50 range. So 34 is kind of surprising. But after the match, we have Team Hell No come out to call out the Shield. Daniel Bryan and Kane are like, we don't really want a rematch for our tag titles just yet, because if we get a rematch for our tag titles, we would be excluding the man that helped us at Extreme Rules, Bobby Roode. So just to prove to you, and more so to us in the WWE Universe, that we deserve another match for the tag titles, we are challenging you 3 to a 6-man tag team match at Payback. And there we go. That is the first match for Payback. So while Daniel Bryan and Kane could really use their tag team rematch clause, they don't want to. They want to prove to the world that they still got it as a team, and they also don't want to exclude their helping friend Bobby Roode. So instead, first they're going to do a 3v3 that they intend to win before using their rematch clause. So there we go. We are going to have the Shield versus Team Hell No and Robert Anthony Roode. I was gonna do the fucking joke where you say like their full name, and then I realized I was saying Bobby Fish's name. So yeah, then we have a promo by Mickie James, and she's just saying, guys, AJ's a fraud. She's only pretending to turn the corner, like turn face. That's kind of like the the kayfabe way we say it for the cameras. She's only pretending to turn the corner to get people to underestimate her before she does her old ways and cheats and does all the whole 9 yards once again. But I'm not going to fall for it, AJ. I'm going to go into this title match with the same mindset that I had 3 weeks ago when I was remaking my debut for this company. This really should have opened the show, but I don't like having jobbers go on after my signed talent. I didn't think about it, but I kind of should have noticed that this match was not going to do well at all. But you know what? I don't really care. In the end, Alicia Fox and Summer Rae defeat the Funkadactyls when Summer Rae pinned Cameron by using underhanded tactics. And after the match, Tons of Funk get into the ring, and they're kind of like, oh, are you guys okay? Are you all right? To the girls. And while this is happening, Fandango comes out of nowhere with a chair and just takes out Sweet Tea, destroys his leg a good bit before Brodus Clay can really stop him. And Fandango, Alicia Fox, and Summer Rae run off kind of victorious tonight. Really victorious on this edition of Monday Night Raw. And however, but even though it seems victorious for them in the moment, Michael Cole makes an announcement that Triple H has pre-booked for next week's show a 3v3 multi-man tag match. I don't believe I have I think I'm good. Yeah, I think I never booked an actual segment of announcing this because I ran out of time. But we are going to have a 3v3 intergender tag match between the Funkadactyls and Brodus Clay versus Fandango, Alicia Fox, and Summer Rae. So there we go. There's that. Yeah, that's all that's been pre-booked so far. I got more pre-bookings, by the way, incoming for next week's show. So that got a 50. This gets a 64. It is The Miz. For some reason, he wants to call out Mark Henry. And maybe he's got a little bit of confidence coming up because he's got his old friends back and they're all chilling. And he thinks, you know what? If things go too bad, I got my boys. My boys got my back. So even if I lose a match against Henry, they'll prevent Henry from doing any real damage. But he challenges Mark Henry for the main event of the show. For whatever reason, this man says, Henry, you got to blow off some steam. Why not try it against me? So, Miz has just got some confidence. We then have our match between Shelton Benjamin and Antonio Cesaro. It gets a 54, and it's a draw because before the match can officially end, I forgot to have Ryback come out. Ryback comes out and lays waste to both men. Ryback, once he's done laying waste to both men and getting the match to have some sort of screwy finish, he challenges Kofi Kingston. He demands more. So he demands to get a match for the United States Championship or else. And what is that or else? I guess hopefully Kofi accepts so he doesn't have to find out. That got us a nice 62. We then have our second promo between these two where AJ Lee wants to prove to Mickey that she's not faking niceness. She's not faking being a face. So she got them a tag team match pre-booked for next week's Monday Night Raw. As in, they are going to be on the same team. It is going to be AJ Lee and Mickey James taking on Oksana and Rosa Mendez. I'm sure you all can guess which of these teams is winning that match next week. That got a 59. We then have our United States Championship match, Kofi Kingston and Cody Rhodes. Definitive match, no run-ins by Ryback, Cesaro, anybody. And in the end, it is Kofi Kingston retaining the United States Championship with the Trouble in Paradise. His third defense with the belt. It got a 61. Kind of hoping it did a little better, but I don't think Cody Rhodes and Kofi are actually that over. So, you know what? But honestly, all I can ask for is that the segment rating does actually better than the in-ring ratings. That's how you know it wasn't. It was a good segment for what the pop they're capable of. We then have, after the match, Zack Ryder comes out and he says he respects Kofi, but he feels like he deserves his one-on-one match. The three ways was a little bit of a, kind of screwed him out. And before Kofi can give a response, then Ryback runs in. He was going to give Kofi some time, but if Zack Ryder starts running in, Ryback comes in, and it looks like he's about to beat some ass. He's about to do the same thing he did to Shelton and Cesaro earlier in the show. Really, two schools of thought when challenging for a belt. That's what I put the segment as, and that's why. But before Ryback can lay any damage, Triple H comes out, and I actually had to make a footnote in my notes because it was a lot of text. So what Triple H does is he prevents anyone from fighting on this show, but then he says at Payback, we will decide a number one contender by having a fatal four-way match between Antonio Cesaro, motherfucking, where are they at? Where's this man at? How am I missing him? Shelton Benjamin. Why was I looking all the way up there? Antonio Cesaro, Shelton Benjamin, Zack Ryder, and Ryback. And the winner of that match will then face Kofi Kingston. They'll be the number one contender. I haven't decided if they will face Kofi at Money in the Bank or if they will face Kofi on a Raw before Money in the Bank, but that is a number one contenders match for the U.S. And that's at Payback. He also pre-books for next week's Raw another tag match. I don't know why. This is kind of an unconscious thing in my booking that I realized recently, is that I for whatever reason love to have tag matches on go home shows. So on next week's go home show, we will see the team of Shelton Benjamin and Zack Ryder take on the team of Antonio Cesaro and Ryback, just to kind of give the fans a little taste of that four-way before getting it at Payback. And then he announces another match, and this time it's for Kofi Kingston. He says to keep yourself occupied, and I know you don't seem like the guy to do this, Kofi, but just in case, I want to keep you occupied and out of the tag match. So next week, to open Monday Night Raw, you will defend your United States Championship against any NXT superstar that answers. So that's not something that I can pre-book because I'm going to borrow them on the Raw. But just so you know, it is there. That is going to happen on next week's Raw. So pretty cool. And now it's time for our main event between Mark Henry and The Miz. Both men make their entrances, and then 3MB strikes. 3MB attacks Alex Riley and R-Truth after The Miz has already made his entrance. They were going to be in the back just in case anything, went south during or after the match for The Miz. However, 3MB have taken them out, so they will not be doing that. But the match is still a pretty even one. Damn, only a 64. What happened there? Oh, fuck. You forget the storyline every time. Damn. Well, it got a 64. That's a little disappointing. And Miz does defend himself. Oh, shit. I put the wrong fucking winner. Ooh, that's fucking bad. Oh, fuck. Alright. I'm going to see something. I'm going to see if I can cheese out of it. I'm going to close the game and come back. So there's going to be an edit. Fuck. Okay, so that did work. I know you guys might be like, oh, that's kind of cheese that you're doing that. But I didn't do it because, okay, don't get me wrong. The main event did disappoint in that run. But I did not do that because of the main event. I did that because I put the wrong... Well, I did it because of the main event, but I did it not because the main event did bad. That's what I mean. So, to make it up, if you guys are like, oh, it's cheating, 64, I will put Ryback to running, because I did fucking put Ryback to whatever. So, yeah, here's what I'll do. I'm going to just run the show off screen again, and then... I'll pop out so you guys can see how everything did. If any injuries happen, God forbid, I'll keep them. This is the official run now that Mark Henry is the victor. So, here we go. Alright, I'll be back in a second. Alright, so here's how everything did, just in case you guys want to redo if you care about the ratings more than the promos, if you're one of those watchers, here's how everything did in that run. If anything, I feel like the show actually did kind of do slightly worse. So, I guess that's what I get for not paying attention. So Miz versus Mark Henry. Also, it's probably going to do better because I did add 3MB to ringside so there wouldn't be a storyline. So, shush, don't tell anyone. Yeah, 64 has gone into cheating. Oh well. 77, Mark Henry defeats The Miz because that was what was supposed to happen. What I was trying to say was The Miz does actually fend off Mark Henry for a good 22 minutes. But in the end, Mark Henry is just, at this point in their careers, the better competitor. He's got more aggression. He's got more years. He's more of a veteran than The Miz. He's just going to beat The Miz in this guard, and he's going to get a 77 because I've learned from my mistakes. We then have, to end the show, Mark Henry, like Miz, Alex Riley, and R-Truth expected, continued to beat down The Miz. It was a babyface promo, but Mark Henry saw it as a cocky promo, and he wants to keep beating him down. So who else comes in for the save but Mark Henry's rival, John Cena? John Cena comes in for the save and tells Mark Henry that next week, since he wants to keep fighting, he can fight Miz, but he also has to fight John Cena in a tag team match, and now nothing is pre-booked, but I'm going to pre-book that right now. Another fucking tag team match. However, Mark Henry will have to team with Heath Slater, which is the leader of the 3MB and Miz's current rival right now. So there we go. That is what has been pre-booked for Raw. Give me another minute so I can add all my pre-bookings once again. Alright, there we go. Pre-bookings are all done. Let's see how Raw did this week. 82. Raw is really kind of the A show in this save so far. They're really picking up the slack. While SmackDown is I'm having more fun actually like booking the angles on SmackDown. Raw is just doing much better than them. So yeah, without further ado, that has been Raw, and let's jump to this week's edition of NXT. Alright, now it is time for NXT, everybody. It is our go-home show for Super Tuesday. I don't know if it's technically even a go-home show, if it's just like a TV special kind of deal. So yeah, if you're jumping into the series a little late, I have decided that, well, it'd be much easier instead of, so okay, I am explaining this while explaining nothing right now, so give me a second to think how I can word myself without sounding like a fucking Porky the Pig over here. Okay, so when I started the series, I asked you all if you wanted me to do takeovers early, as in like do them in 2013 or wait till 2014 to start doing the NXT takeovers, and everybody said yes. However, to keep kayfabe, what I want to do is I do want to wait until 2014 to start doing the takeovers. But I feel like my booking would not be good if I'm not constantly building to some sort of like special show, like a pay-per-view, like a takeover. So instead, we have created Super Tuesdays, which NXT ran like 2 of them in real life when going head-to-head with AEW. And I feel like we could build up to some kind of pay-per-view caliber shows instead of building up to takeovers a couple years early than it was supposed to. So we're going to be running about, I think it's around 8 Super Tuesdays, and then it'll be in time for takeovers. So yeah, it is a 2-hour episode of NXT, and it will be happening on the next show. So yeah, that is the explanation of Super Tuesdays for those of you that have not watched the series since the first episode. So let's get into NXT. So we have Adrian Neville and Oliver Gray, our NXT Tag Team Champions, British Ambition, coming out and demanding Corbin and Mojo. If you remember 2 weeks ago, Corbin and Mojo brutally beat them up, blindsided them backstage, and they had to take last week off. So they come out and they demand to face Corbin and Mojo now. And Corbin and Mojo realize that they are angry, they are furious, and if they challenge for a match, they probably will lose without cheating. So they kind of hold off. They don't cave in, but instead Baron Corbin will take on Adrian Neville in a singles match, and that singles match does not go well for Baron Corbin as Adrian Neville picks up the victory. A match got a 44, which was really good. And after the match, Corbin and Mojo, this was their plan. Corbin did not care about winning that match. Like, he tried to win the match, but he overall did not really care because their plan was to do it again and use weapons to beat down the champs. And they get a couple hits in before their challengers, before British Ambition's opponents for Super Tuesday, Enzo and Cass, run out and make the save. We are going to be turning Enzo and Cass face, but not yet. They don't turn face yet. They don't shake British Ambition's hands after they extend them. Enzo and Cass make the save because they want to win the tag titles fair and prove that they are worthy of the championships. But they aren't faces yet. Then we have a segment where Tongalo and Corey Graves meet backstage. Corey was talking a bunch of shit about Tongaloa. Tongaloa called Corey Graves nothing but like a punk or whatever. I don't actually think he cut a promo, but Corey Graves was talking a lot of shit, and it looks like they're about to fight. However, the third wheel in this storyline, Derek Bateman returns. He interrupts them and he tells them he has talked to William Regal, and at Super Tuesday next week, it will be a three-way match between Tongaloa, Corey Graves, and Derek Bateman. There we go. You know what? I wasn't able to pre-book any other Super Tuesday matches because it is just another episode of NXT, not a pay-per-view. So I had to wait. So let me just really quick. Do I have any other? Yeah, we have the tag match. British Ambition versus Enzo and Cass for the tag titles. And Alexander Rusev versus CJ Parker. CJ, Alexander Rusev. Nice. There we go. That is all the Super Tuesday matches I have pre-booked as of right now. So then, Aiden English and Full Sail University are introduced to the one, the only Lucha Soros, and handled changes? Aiden English, yeah, not yet. So yes, Lucha Soros. We had Austin Draven. I said, fuck it, make him Lucha Soros, and here's Lucha Soros' debut match. He gets a 26, but he does beat Aiden English in 10-12. This is really a showcase match for Austin. He had all that Lucha. I believe he had Lucha Libre training after this. However, I don't care. He had Lucha Libre training before that in this universe. So he's doing his backflips. He's doing his nice, clean spin kicks. He's really impressing the crowd, kind of like when he first showed up in AEW and did all his gimmicks, and he got really over for a little bit there. He was kind of more over than Jungle Boy for a second there, and he beats Aiden English in his debut here. We then have a Alexander Rusev training video that is directed at CJ Parker, where he's just kind of like working out and beating the shit out of a bunch of goons that come up, kind of like what Lance Archer did, but he's in like a gym kind of deal, like MMA training kind of gym. And the whole message is just like, I hope you're ready, CJ. You're a fucking dead man. Cassius Ohno and Tyson Kidd have a face-to-face with William Regal. This is kind of like another thing that I kind of stole from the TV, the USA Network era of NXT before they turned into NXT 2.0. They would do a bunch of like sit-down face-to-faces involving William Regal with the challengers, so I just kind of stole that here to get a cheese rating of a 77 by using William Regal's amazing promo ability. And in our main event here, we have Dakota Kai versus Charlotte Flair. Dakota makes her debut. She got a rating of very good for her fan favorite gimmick. Charlotte, the main event, gets a 40. Charlotte wins in 12:35 with a figure 8. And although I pre-booked a bunch of matches a few minutes ago, that was not all the matches. And Paige and Emma have come out to tell Charlotte that she does have a match at Super Tuesday. And her opponent is going to be none other than Sarah Del Rey. Sarah Del Rey is one of the weirdest cases of WWE I've ever seen, that they hired Sarah Del Rey and never used her in the ring. I think they did the same thing with fucking Dark Angel, Sarah Stock. They hired her. She hadn't really retired yet. And they hired these two, and they never had them wrestle. But in this mod, her contract is not restricted to make her an road agent only. So I am going to use her. They did that with Jimmy Jacobs, too. Like, Jimmy Jacobs never wrestled. That was so weird. So fucking Sarah Del Rey, women's wrestling legend, will be making her debut against Charlotte Flair at Super Tuesday next week. And that is how we close this episode of NXT. It gets a 54. Show increased our popularity in 11 regions. Good shit. I hope you're all excited for Super Tuesday, even though the card was just up there a second ago. I do this with all my pay-per-views just to give you guys a little bit of refresh and hype. So on Super Tuesday, this is going to be the order of the matches as they happen. We will see Alexander Rusev versus CJ Parker. The NXT Tag Team Championships are on the line as Enzo and Cass fight for them against British Ambition. The triple threat match between Corey Graves, Derek Bateman, and Tongalo. Sarah Del Rey will make her NXT and WWE wrestling debut against Charlotte Flair. And then, of course, for the NXT Championship, Tyson Kidd will be defending the belt against Cassius Ohno. So yeah, that is it for NXT. And let's get into this week's edition of Friday Night SmackDown. Hopefully, it doesn't disappoint like it did last week. Alright, it is now time for our final show on this edition of the Yes Mod for YouTube. We are here for SmackDown. It is, so we got, of course, our main event is the number one contenders match between Del Rio, Sheamus, and Chris Jericho. Whoever wins that match will face Dolph Ziggler for the World Heavyweight Championship at Backlash, or Payback, sorry. Sin Cara and Christopher Daniels are going at it. This is Daniels' second match in the company. His first match was a match against Kurt Hawkins, which actually exceeded my expectations, which is nice. And then, of course, we have Yoshitatsu versus the Great Khali, which was just kind of announced. If you thought it was announced just because I wanted to announce a random match, it is not. There's going to be an angle attached to it, guys. So, that is all I really need to say. If I can get it pulled up on my phone real quick, because I forgot. Alright. Almost closed it out. Okay. Cool. So here we go. We open this episode of SmackDown with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. They enter to a chorus of boos from the people in attendance. 77. I didn't actually look at the rating yet. That's pretty good. Paul Heyman says, "My client Brock Lesnar does not appreciate these old heads like Rob Van Dam who come back well after their prime in an attempt to get one last run at the top and take the spotlight away from him. RVD must have thought that since he was an ECW original, that I would have protected him from Brock Lesnar. Well, newsflash, Rob, ECW is dead and buried, and my only priority now is Brock Lesnar. Now, Rob, you better start getting ready because your funeral has already been booked. At Payback in 2 weeks, you will be going one-on-one with Brock Lesnar." So that is the gist of their promo. Just kind of Paul Heyman explaining as to why Brock Lesnar went after Rob Van Dam, the returning Rob Van Dam of all people. And it's because, well, Lesnar just kind of feels like these old guys are coming back, trying to get one last run at the top while they still have some years left in their career. And, he doesn't like the spotlight being taken away from him, so he took it back to close the show last week. So nice 77. We then open with Sin Cara and Christopher Daniels. That got a 50. Again, exceeding my expectations. Daniels doing about as well as I thought he would regarding his pop, but Sin Cara and Kurt Hawkins have both done better than I was expecting, which is really nice to see. So yeah, that got a 50, and this match had to go 13 minutes because the Great Khali match later on in the show, that man's stamina is at a 38. So even though I did that whole spiel last week about my guys that I have signed having long matches, that's gonna go out the window during that match. But it's just one outlier, hopefully. So if you remember last week, Daniels kind of hesitated before shaking Kurt Hawkins' hand. He seemed a little jaded during that match in the latter half, but for this whole match, Daniels just seemed jaded. He didn't wrestle like a heel. I get something's bugging at him. Something is bugging at him, and it's very obvious now because Sin Cara does get up to offer his hand, but by the time he does that and Sin Cara has his hand out, Sin Cara did not notice Daniels has already left the ring, and he's exited the arena before Sin Cara could even do that. So here is Shawn Michaels' announcement. If you remember last week, I kind of pre-booked an angle saying Shawn Michaels is going to make an announcement regarding the tag team division. Well, here it is. So Shawn is in his office with the Cologne Cousins and the Usos. He says, I've called you two teams in the ring here. I've called you two teams in here because Raw has been home to the tag team titles since the first show after WrestleMania. And I think that it's time that the Blue Brand has gotten some time with the belts. They've really been hogging it, in my opinion. So I've talked it over with Vince, and after this next pay-per-view Payback, since, well, the Shield are already busy, we can't really have a match for the tag titles. So after this upcoming pay-per-view has concluded, a SmackDown tag team is guaranteed to challenge for the belts next. And I've decided that you two, or you four, are the most qualified and deserving men on the Blue Brand to get that opportunity. But the second that Shawn Michaels finishes, Damian Sandow enters the office and he says, sorry, Mr. Michaels, but I couldn't help but overhear the conversation, and let me just cut straight to the chase. I feel like more people deserve title opportunities on the Blue Brand, and I would like you, if you could find it in the kindness of your heart, to make it a 2 versus 2 versus 2 match and add me in. And Shawn Michaels says, you know what, Sandow, as annoying as you are, I do want the best that SmackDown has to offer to challenge for those tag belts. So if you can find a partner for next week, then by all means you're in. But if you can't find a partner, then it's just going to be a regular 2v2 again involving the Usos and the Cologne Cousins. And Sandow says that suffice and walks off. So that is our first pre-booking that I'm going to do. I'm going to do an edit really quick. Alright, so there we go. So, yes, unlike for the Raw episode, it is going to be somebody that is already on the roster, so I'm able to pre-book it right now. So maybe, who's it going to be? I hope that made it a little more interesting for you guys. It can't just be anybody in the save. So then we have Tamina beating the shit out of a local worker, and it got an 11 because Tamina is also an unimportant, but it did about as well as I could have hoped. And then her subsequent promo where she kind of not really explains why she took out Caitlyn, but she says that I'm not going to let Caitlyn hold this division hostage. I'm going to end her stronghold next week when I beat her in a match just like I beat this, whatever her name is. And there is another match that we have pre-booked, Tamina versus Caitlyn. I already typed out Caitlyn, but I got rid of it for some reason. There is match number 2. We're going to have 3 of these promos throughout the show, and they don't really matter at all. It's just all 3 men in the main event match tonight are all going to get a little bit of promo time to just cut a promo like, hey, I'm going to win this match and I'm going to beat Dolph Ziggler at Payback. That's really all these are. They're just here to fill out the time because I did not have a lot of time booked for this show after I had to cut Khali's match time from 13 to, I believe, 6. So there we go. That got a 54. We then have another match that I had to give a lot of time to because after I edit all those angles, guess what? I didn't have enough wrestling time on the show. So now it is Hunico versus Evan Bourne, and I think this would have been a really fun match to watch. I was actually a decent fan of Hunico when he was doing the run. I thought he was actually kind of entertaining to watch, but you know what? They never pushed him. So that got a 50. My boy Evan Bourne wins, and then after the match, we cut to backstage where we see Shawn Michaels and Wade Barrett, and Shawn Michaels basically breaks the news to Wade Barrett that yeah, he feels that Evan Bourne deserves a rematch for that IC title after what happened at the last pay-per-view. And this time, to ensure that no funny business goes down, Ezekiel Jackson will be the special guest enforcer for the match. Shawn Michaels does a little wink to the fans and says, "I've had a run-in with a special enforcer. You don't want to mess with them, Wade. Trust me." And Wade Barrett is just not happy at that news. So here we go for the pay-per-view. Evan Bourne, Wade Barrett, a match that would make me cream my pants for the Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, so RVD Brock. Nothing else has been pre-booked yet? No, not yet. So that got a 76. Nice, good stuff. We then have Alberto Del Rio cutting his promo for the main event match. Standard stuff. It is then time for the infamous match that I've been building up this whole time. It gets a 38. It goes 5.5 minutes. Not a good outing by Yoshi because of his pop. Not a good outing by Great Khali because he is Great Khali. Yeah. So after the match, Scorpio Sky appears on the entrance ramp and says, "I told your translator last week, Khali, since you wanted to screw with my debut, I would make you pay. And time has run out. Now you need to pay up." As soon as Sky finishes, Christopher Daniels appears behind Khali and brutally lays him out with a sledgehammer. I put sledgehammer. I kind of want to save sledgehammer spots for Triple H matches. So he uses a chair, and Scorpio gets in the ring, and the two men celebrate together. So Christopher Daniels has already been here for about 2 weeks and's already turned heel. Well, he hasn't turned heel per se. I guess we just didn't know his character yet. But he was jaded during his first 2 matches, and now he is just full-blown not going to be a good guy. So before the segment goes off the air, Daniels gets into Great Khali's ear and just yells, "If you want payback, Khali, meet me in the ring next week." So there we go. That's another match pre-booked for SmackDown. Christopher Daniels versus the Great Khali. Your instincts tell you... Do I have to make this one 10 minutes? No, I gotta make it 8 minutes, don't I? Oh, wow, that was a fucking... Alright. Nice. Yeah, cool. That is that segment. And then we get our final of the trio of promos between the 3 men in the triple threat as Jericho really shows them how it's fucking done. So before we can get into our main event, however, Shawn Michaels makes another appearance on this show. If you feel like the GMs are kind of all over the place on the show, I agree with you. I don't know. I didn't realize until now, but Shawn Michaels does make a good amount of appearances on this show. I personally wouldn't mind. It's when the heel authority figures make a million appearances on the shows when I have a problem with it. So, however, Shawn Michaels enters and he says, "I've done it once again. I'm making Vince proud by being one of the best GMs of all time because I have signed another huge name to SmackDown. Ladies and gentlemen, the most recent addition to the SmackDown roster, Kane." Boom, 77 segment. Kind of a truth bomb. While I tried to do a thing of implying that Team Hell No would get both of them are coming back to Monday Night Raw. Although I do realize I just said, "Hey, Team Hell No's coming back to Raw." But no, that was not the case. Kane ended up signing with SmackDown. I guess the offer that Michaels made to him was just better than what Triple H did. Maybe Kane felt like Triple H wasn't making a big enough effort to sign him, and maybe his talent would be valued more on SmackDown because he is officially a member of the Blue Brand. And that means that once Payback concludes, Team Hell No is officially split up. So they still get to be on both brands for this build to Payback. They are going to have one last match between Bobby Roode against the Shield at Payback, but then they are split up. So Kane is coming to SmackDown. And now it is time for our triple threat match. In a match that I had go 26 minutes long, in the end, it was Sheamus who won the triple threat. He pinned Del Rio with a bro kick. I assume somehow what happened was Alberto Del Rio tried to steal a win from Sheamus. Steal the win from Jericho. I didn't think this out through, I'm going to say it very generically. So Alberto Del Rio tries to steal the win from Jericho by pinning Sheamus. Sheamus kicks out. Chris Jericho gets furious. The two brawl until eventually Ricardo gets involved. Alberto's able to take out Jericho, and at that point, Sheamus is back to his feet. Bro kick to Del Rio, and Sheamus wins the number one contenders match. So he will be taking on Dolph Ziggler for the World Heavyweight Championship at Payback. And finally, as we go off the air, this one's kind of a, once again, oh, fuck. That's not good. That's not good. Well, great. I don't think it's going to be that bad because it didn't say it didn't give me the red notification, so maybe. Alberto Del Rio, dude, that's fine. Alberto Del Rio can get all the heat backstage he wants. I don't care enough. So after the match, Dolph Ziggler enters with Big E and AJ Lee to kind of show his respect to Sheamus. But Jericho and Alberto Del Rio are still brawling outside of the ring. And that somehow, maybe like Ziggler, they bump into Ziggler, they bump into Big E, and then Big E hits Sheamus by mistake. And basically, those two accidentally cause a brawl between Sheamus and Dolph. And that's how we go off the air. However, before we go off the air, the announcers do make a note that Shawn Michaels feels that these two being Chris Jericho and Alberto Del Rio, should really settle their differences at Payback in a singles match. And that is the Payback card pre-booked. That is all the matches that are going to be on Payback. Take a picture or look if you want to recap. So yeah, that is the full Payback card pre-booked here, finally finished on SmackDown. And the final segment got a 78. And show got a 70. Still underperforming SmackDown, are we? Yeah, it's hard to do SmackDown justice if nobody wants to get Blu-rated promos. SmackDown is consistently getting us our worst ratings of the save so far within this build to Payback. It used to be Jericho and Wade Barrett were kind of carrying the promo game for us. But yeah, kind of disappointing. I thought that main event would do a little better. I don't know why it's got a 66, but you know what? It got a 70. I get anything above a 70, I guess, is okay. I don't remember what we have to do to not get kicked off our broadcasters, but I do know we have to do much better than this not to lose pop in America. So that's not good. Yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of the Yes Mod. I hope you all enjoyed. And next week are the go-home shows to Payback. We got a lot of matches pre-booked. I think we have a full card for Raw, and then a almost full card for the SmackDown, right? If I can alright, yeah. So yeah, we got the go-home shows, and then of course we are going to have our first ever NXT Super Tuesday in the next episode, where Tyson Kidd and Cassius Ohno are going to be fighting for the NXT Championship. Sarah Del Rey is going to make her, yeah, okay. Again, I haven't run NXT yet, so I couldn't remember if Sarah Del Rey debuted yet. But yeah, she did. Okay, cool. So Sarah Del Rey is going to make her NXT debut on that show. British Ambition are facing Enzo and Cass. So, yeah, pretty big show for NXT on their first Super Tuesday. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you for that episode next time.